Welcome back to Cypher Sleeping Forest. Hopefully you guys are having a good week. Today I'm gonna try and keep it as short as I can, but there is a lot of stuff happening with the dollar, gold, crypto, and then we have the stock market. And there's some interesting news that you could potentially benefit from, so hopefully it helps you out. So I'm just gonna dive in and try to get this done as soon as possible because I actually forgot to put in my audio the first time and I was talking to myself for 30 minutes, so let's see if I can do it in 10. So let's start off with the dollar. The dollar, as you guys know, is not one of my favorite things to own or to have. One, because it just goes down over time. So if you can, I would say invest into assets that will produce more value over time. I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This is strictly for educational purposes, and hopefully it helps you become, better financially aware, make better choices, understand our financial system better, and get ahead in life. So let's continue. So the dollar, I don't like it. There's always a pattern, like in any market, there's a down cycle, there's an up cycle. And right now we're actually reaching a potential top where we could be coming down from. How hard we come down from it, I'm still not sure, but we do have some support here. As you can tell, let me turn these off for you guys real quick. As you can tell, we've been ranging within this area for quite some time. Luckily, with COVID, we didn't drop too much. We had COVID back over here, like March, and we actually came down to test this like 90 area. Right now we're in 92. So this is its value compared to other currencies. So even if we are, let me close this. Even if we are doing well, our money can still be valued less compared to commodities such as gold, and the value that we create with the dollar might still be less when compared to the stock market or crypto. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is because we recently had a vote passed, 220 to 212 for another bill, 3.5 trillion bill, which they're going to start drafting. So Nancy Pelosi committed to September 27th deadline to vote on 550 billion Senate passed infrastructure bill. So to me, they're going to add more money to the system. It's probably going to push the markets up. There's going to be more spending. The bad part about this is that this can potentially create inflation, which I think it will, because one, our debt is way, way too high, and I don't believe we're going to be able to pay it off. And two, like we just keep borrowing more money. Like how are you supposed to get out of debt and pay what you owe if you just keep borrowing more and don't have enough to pay what you currently owe? So it's crazy. One last thing I want to mention about any bill that you see, just because it has a nice name or it's called infrastructure and you think it's going to be building something, doesn't automatically mean it is, and doesn't mean it will have nice things for the people in it. That's just something that they do. So keep that in mind whenever you see any of these bills, because you can still get screwed. So that's the dollar. So the dollar is doing so-so. If I had to bet which way it's going to go, I honestly don't know. But if I had to make a choice, I would bet that eventually it's going to go down because it's been going down for the last 40 years. So let's say we, hit the top area again and we come back down in this channel. This is a big drop. Even if it takes another decade, your value of your dollar can go down 40% at the bottom of this channel in 2031. So for you to not pay attention to this is, I don't know why you wouldn't, because unless you already know about this stuff, because I wouldn't want to lose 40% of my money. So hopefully this video helps you make better decisions, or at least opens the way to you being aware of things that you didn't know before. So we currently have some areas of support. Obviously this is charting. But like I said, during this channel, during the last 40 years, it's been going down. So let's compare it to the U.S. dollar versus the Mexican peso. So over time, we've had this area of support that it bounces from, which means its value of the dollar has retained more than it has for the peso. So let's just say, back in 2010, it used to be 11 pesos for $1. Now the dollar has increased so much. Right now it's currently valued at about 20 pesos per dollar, which is double. That's great. So the reason why we see these up areas on the top of the channel is because sometimes the rest of the world isn't doing as great as the U.S. or us, and like places like Venezuela, maybe I believe Argentina, Zimbabwe for sure, Turkey, like they have massive inflation, and that's affecting their entire economy. So uh, yes, we may be one of the quote unquote strongest systems, but personally, if I think we're pretty weak because of the things we rely on in our current system that we have functioning. But that's just my opinion. Do with it what you will. And as you can tell, we've held this line for quite some time. So we may bounce off this area and the value of the dollar may go back up. However, if it does come back down, we would experience a drop of, let's see, from our current area, if we could drop all the way down to, let's see, we're at 18 pesos per dollar. So that's about a 10% drop. Now, if we drop that, I don't even want to know where we're going to end up against the peso, but I might as well just move to Mexico. But luckily, I don't think that's happening right now or anytime soon. But I will say that from what I've seen, Mexico has been doing things differently than it usually does, and they might turn things around where they'll be much stronger economy than people anticipate. As far as right now, China is the number one. It's the strongest that I can tell. So I am scared of China. I'm not gonna lie. Let's go and look at the gold chart. So the gold chart generally has had a good run. The biggest run that I saw was back in the dot-com bubble. What happened during the dot-com bubble? Well, there was a major crash, and I guess people liked gold after that a lot. So from, let's say, about the year 2000 till, when is this? Also September 11th. So let's say about 10 years. It's gone up about 600%. 600%. If you were in the stock market and you were getting an average return of 8% year over year, and then you saw this 600%, like, why wouldn't you? But you can also apply the same concept to certain stocks if you can learn to read charts and data. And I personally think you'll be better off. The reason why I say this is because it doesn't matter how much money you make. What matters is how much you're able to keep. Because you have these artists and you have these sports athletes, and you have so many talented people that can make so much money, but they don't know how to manage it, and they end up being broke. So let's say you would have sold at the top. If you would have sold at the top, you would have held, let's just round it off to 50%. You would have held 50% of your value compared to those who didn't sell and just kept gold. And then they would have to wait about another 10 years, I believe it's 9 years, we just rounded up to 10, about another 10 years to make back what they lost. To me, that's wasted time. You can always make money back, especially if you know what you're doing, or at least you can mitigate the risk accordingly. But your time, you will never be able to get back. So anyone here that lost 50% of their value lost about 9 years worth of whatever it costs for them to have that amount of money, whatever time it costs them. To me, that's big. The life is short. If you can have the option to do what you want with your time because money's not an issue, then go for it. So the reason why I'm bringing up gold this time around is because Palantir Technologies, if you guys are not sure what Palantir is, Palantir is actually a data analytics company, and they work with the military. The Navy, CIA, Amazon, IBM, and they can pretty much help manage risk and mitigate potential issues that are coming that can cause issues that are coming our way. So $50 million was set aside and used to purchase gold. And when asked about that, they said Planeteer invests heavily in gold ahead of a Black Swan event. So COVID-19 was a Black Swan event, which means they potentially see, and wherever they get their information from, I'm going to say it's their data, that there might be another Black Swan event. Whether it does happen or doesn't happen, I personally think it's good to know your options. Because if you don't know your options and you do get, well, let's say shit hits the fan and you do get wrecked or about to get wrecked, you have the knowledge to make better judgments, better decisions, better allocations, and that can mitigate like this 50% loss in the value of your money. Even the dollar, like I said, even the dollar over time in 10 years, let's say you want to do everything you've been doing now, it's not your fault. You've been working as hard as you have to work, and it drops by 2030 about 40%. So no fault of your own, your money automatically loses 40% of its value, of its purchasing power. Why would you want that? I wouldn't. So hopefully all this stuff that I'm telling you helps you, because this is very important things that will help you and your family. So let's go into stocks. We're going to go into a couple of different stocks. And we have, give me one sec, my little dog is barking, is crying. Give me one sec. Okay. Here, so you guys, this is Yoshi. Say hi, Yoshi. He doesn't like being alone, so sorry about that. So, back to what I was saying. So, stocks are correlated with the rest of the market, such as like crypto, could potentially be gold, depending on what events will take place. As of right now, we only have we've only had the Black Swan event from COVID. If we have another one due to the Delta variant, if we have another one due to, for whatever reason, wanting to send people to Afghanistan, I don't know what can happen. I don't know what is going to happen. All I know is I would like to be aware and be able to mitigate risk and see which way we're kind of going. So as far as the SPY, we've been going up. This huge dip was because of the COVID Black Swan event that we had. Let me turn my EMAs on. So, where's the good time to buy in the market? Generally, around the 200. Why? Besides the Black Swan event, we've had touches around the 200, 200, 200, and generally it just takes off from there. Now, the percentage gains just from those areas. Let's see, from the bottom of this area, let's see the top over here, that's 86% over about 4 years time span. 86% is not bad. Now, this is the COVID. So during the crash back in March of last year to where we currently are in 1 year, that's about 100% returns on the SPY. That's huge, Why wouldn't you want that? Now, could you anticipate that? No, I don't think you'd be able to anticipate the COVID. However, you could anticipate the 200 or anywhere below may have been a great area to buy, which in hindsight looks like it was. So over time, it's good to be aware of areas where you can take opportunity, whether it's in the market, whether it's in, even in the real estate market, whether it's in the types of commodities, whether it's in opportunities in business. Maybe it might not be the right time for business if we're high in markets and we can potentially be seeing a downturn. So that's the S&P/Y. Overall, the RSI is on a downtrend. However, prices at an uptrend. I don't know what's going to happen. This looks pretty high to me, but still has room to run. The one that is scarier is actually the NASDAQ. So if you have any NASDAQ companies, you might want to be very careful on how much you invest in those companies. Because we're all the way up here in the RSI. And like I said, every cycle there's tops and bottoms. And we may not be at the top yet, but we're in the top area. And generally, once we've hit these top areas, we can go back in time. We can see that there's generally pullbacks. Right here is a pullback. Right here is a pullback. Top, bottom. So you can see areas of opportunity you can take if you know what you're doing. And for the last, let's check the Dow Jones. The Dow Jones, as you can tell, we've touched the 200, 200, 200. So the 200 or any of these indicators can work for the crypto, gold, and the stock market. So all you have to know is be willing to put in the time to learn how to read data and information. And he can make more than you're probably making in your job. Not to be disrespectful or anything, but this is a skill. And it does take time. It took me time, but overall I think it's worth it. And it's something that anyone can learn and you don't have to go to school for. So that's pretty amazing to me. The Dow Jones Industrial is not bad as well. It looks like it has room to run, but we don't know if there's going to be a Black Swan event or not. If there's going to be a potential crash or COVID spike, which it's been spiking. What's going to happen with the government? So Palantir is already taking preventative measures and they bought gold. So I don't know what's going to happen. But this stuff is just so you guys can keep in mind what can happen. Right now, what Goldman Sachs is saying is that the U.S. may taper off. So all the stimulus that's been going on and all the repos that are propping up the markets may be going away or starting to diminish in November. Which means less money will be going into companies and businesses and the market, and there'll be less movement upward potentially. So that's something to keep in mind because, like I said, there could be a Black Swan event, or they could start increasing rates to buy houses because obviously everyone wanted to buy a house, or a lot of people wanted to buy houses when everything was low. Like you had to pay low interest rates, I think 3% or less, maybe 2.5% to these last couple of months. And if they reverse that, where interest rates shoot up, stimulus or any more care packages or any more help from government goes away, we could have a big decline. But that's things that we don't know about. All we can do is potentially protect ourselves, try and look at certain patterns and be aware of what could happen and make the proper adjustments, or at least keep the proper adjustments in mind. So hopefully this helps you guys out. I'm bullish for gold. I am bullish for Bitcoin, though in the short term we could have pullbacks. And I will be creating my Patreon channel maybe in the next couple of weeks, and that will have trading, we'll have areas of opportunity to buy, areas to sell. If you're interested in that and would like to learn some of the stuff that I do that helps me mitigate risk and take profits. So enjoy the rest of your week. This is Fernando signing out. Peace.